What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Today is Wednesday, and when it's Wednesday, it's not only Hump Day, but it's also the Sports Lounge Media. I'm super excited for today because we get to transition into some NBA. As you know, the Sports Lounge covers everything sports. It doesn't matter if it's NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL. We cover it all, even college football and basketball, which is really, really cool. You'll see that on Saturdays coming up. That's coming up in the near future in March. So I'm excited for that. But other than that, we got a special guest tonight. Somebody you guys probably haven't seen before. It's a guy that we connected on TikTok. A really chill dude, a lot of ball knowledge when it comes to this type of thing. So you guys know that I bring on people who are creditable, and this individual is creditable. What's going on, Sauce?
What's good? What's good, man? Thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to get on your platform and talk what we need to be talking about. But shout out to everybody. You know, I'm just glad to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah. And where can they follow you if? Because you know they're gonna fall in love with you. Where they gonna? Where they?
Oh man, TikTok, the People's Choice, 41510, Instagram, TRST_31. And things of that nature. So yeah.
Yeah, so shout out to Sauce for giving up his time and being able to be on. Go follow him, guys. Go follow him. He talks about a lot of different things. A lot when it comes to draft. He's a deep diver. Great intellectual conversations. He's not one of those casuals or one of those dudes that just sits on the couch and drinks a beer and drink and just talks about football. This guy actually knows his ball. He's also known to collect some really cool cards too. If you guys are interested in that as well. So yeah, so shout out to Sauce. You guys will all know Fantasy Blitz from Fantasy Blitz podcast down there. Also Dice Will, who does all of our social media platform. He's also on here as needed. And then you already know me. I'm the chosen one. And you can follow me on all of my platforms as it says right there. But I want to start with our sponsors, proud sponsors. Thank you so much, Calibill Graphics, for sponsoring us. Go to Calibill Graphics to get any tees, wrappings on your cars, signs, hats, whatever you need. Go to Calibill Graphics, and when you go in there, let them know that the Sports Lounge sent you, and you get a percentage off. Also, number one sports fan to get all your memorabilia. Now we're transitioning to NBA. So you want to get your jerseys, your varsity jackets, your beanies, whatever it is that you need to go get. Make sure you go to the number one sports fan. They got it in Hanford, Visalia, Tulare, in LA. Go tell them that the Sports Lounge sent you to get additional percentage off. We also got the Martino Construction. If you want to get your renovation done, go tap in www.martino construction. You can find them there. Also, let them know if you let them know that the Sports Lounge sent you. You guys are about to get $1,000 off of your renovation. So you might want to go check them out. And of course, our very first and sponsor, we are powered by the Mogul brand and the Diamond Collection. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring us. We appreciate you guys. And we're going to dive in tonight, man. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the trades. A lot of crazy trades this year. I don't know about you guys. I was at the edge of my seat every time. What's happening? What's happening? A lot of people were just, what? How did that happen? And so we're going to dive into those. Some are serious, some are not that serious, but it's still a trade. I think this was probably one of the most shocking trade seasons that I've seen in a very, very long time. I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think for the the star player in Luca, it really kind of like set the world on fire, bro. Especially in Dallas. So yeah, man, it's a lot to talk about for real.
Yeah. What about you, Tennessee? One of the. I mean, it had to been one of the craziest ones trade seasons that you've seen.
Listen, so for me, I'm more of a player guy in the NBA. I don't really have a team that I necessarily root for. I'll follow players around. So a long time Heat fan. I've been a long time Heat fan for Dwayne Wade, and recently fell in love with the Pelicans because of Zion Williamson. He's another one of my favorite players. But
Okay.
being a fan of both of those teams, this trade deadline was pretty crazy. Butler going to Golden State, that needed to happen. Butler was extremely problematic towards the end, getting suspended and missing games and doing whatnot. And then on the other side, one of my other favorite players, Brandon Ingram, going to Toronto.
Yes, that was
So,
interesting too.
yeah, so I definitely these are the Butler one. I kind of saw coming. It was on the wall, written on the wall for a while. But Brandon Ingram, I definitely didn't see coming.
Yeah.
And it kind of just was upsetting at the point. But it was a crazy one. I think that
Yeah.
I think Dallas, in my opinion, is going to pay the price in that trade, and it's going to really
Yeah, we'll talk.
rely on the health of Anthony Davis.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about all those for sure. And I know I'm super excited about how the season's going to end. Right, we're halfway through it now, second half of the season with all these different trades. But this dates all the way back, and I know you're excited, Dupree, as well. We talk about it off stream, but this dates all the way back to June 20th with Alex Carrasco getting traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And in return, Josh Giddey, which is, I believe, the kid that was in trouble for the minor incidents, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
Alex Carrasco, he was a really big asset to the Lakers. And then when he went to the Bulls, it seemed like the first year he was there, it looked like he was doing some damage. And then now it seems like he's just, I guess, at the tail end of his career and like kind of like coming off the bench now and things like that. I mean, what do you guys think about that trade?
For me, I think that where did he go?
He went to the Bulls.
He went from the Lakers to the Bulls, but on June 20th, the Bulls traded him to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and in return, the Bulls got Josh Giddey, which I believe was the kid that had the minor. He dated the minor.
I think Giddey kind of just needed to change the scenery. He had some outside of the world problems there for a little bit. Maybe it's the same thing with Alex Caruso minus the outside world problems. I think he's always kept his nose clean, but Alex Caruso, he's always been a great role player, I will say. And I feel the same way with Josh Giddey. I think this was just a swap for change of scenery. I think they're both decent players in the NBA, but I don't think they really bring any firepower to either team. So
I just think that Alex Caruso, being that he adds that fire on defense, he's a good two-way player when necessary. He can score. I mean, not amongst the elite, but he's a good enough. Like if he were coming off the bench, like your sixth man off the bench, I think that it also gives Oklahoma OKC a veteran. So I think it's a plus for Oklahoma.
Yeah. We go to June 25th. Bridges to the Knicks. Knicks get 5 first-round picks, which is crazy. And they also get 3 role players. Mikal Bridges, where is he at with all of this? Now he's on the Knicks. I think I believe he is a Villanova kid, right? Is he the same kid, Villanova kid, that played with there's 2
of them.
Jalen Brunson? He played with Jalen Brunson, right?
Yeah, he did play with Brunson, I believe.
Yeah. And last year,
there's two Bridges brothers in there.
Yeah, there is.
Mikal and Michael,
yeah.
like that. Yeah,
but this kid is the kid that they were trying to trade for last year to make it 5 players that they would have had that won that Villanova chip. They're trying to bring all 5 of them, and they got the job done. They got the job done this year.
DiSavenzio and that little.
Yeah. So I mean, with that trade now, I think it's a little bit too late, don't you guys think? I mean, you send away. What is the kid's name that went to the Warriors? The redhead kid.
I can't pronounce his name, but it's
everybody. Yeah, him. Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I wasn't even gonna try.
I just
I was
said
gonna try, but you know what I'm talking about. There's five of them, but he ended up getting traded to the Warriors, and so it's like you were trying to bring the Villanova group over, and that didn't happen. So they're trying to fix those pieces this year. How do you guys feel about that now? You think it's a little bit too late? I think it's a little bit too late with the Knicks.
Out of y'all. Oh well.
Yeah, they're still trying to get all these rookies now with 5 trades. Like, is that even going to make a better team? With you're starting from scratch now again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that I think it's gonna find its way how it works or how he's gonna add on to the team's success during the playoffs. I think it either helps or it doesn't. I mean, obviously, but I think the team chemistry, like I don't know, like Brunson and them, like Brunson is just man, he's just finding himself on the Knicks. So that dude is crazy. But I just think that if Bridges demands too much of the ball, then I don't think that works because Brunson needs the ball in his hand for that team to be successful.
I agree. Yeah, Brunson definitely needs the rock. And we'll talk about the Carl Towns trade as well. But before we get to that, let's talk about July 1st. There was a huge trade. Klay Thompson goes to the Mavericks, and the Golden State Warriors ended up getting a couple of picks here, and Charlotte ended up getting Josh Green. So it was a three-way trade. Um, I mean, what do you think that what how do you guys think that this is now at this point in the season, July 1st? Klay Thompson was coming off of probably some of the worst seasons as a Warrior. They were known as the Splash Brothers. He wasn't really making his shots towards the end. Do you think that this gives him new life to become, Klay Thompson again? Or do you think he still is set in his ways and this is kind of like he's just a role player at this particular point?
I think at this point, I think the Luka trade definitely benefited him. It being Kyrie and Clay and then AD now. I think that he's kind of moved up on the depth chart of scoring, if you will, with Luka gone. But I mean, listen, when he was in Golden State, I think that Golden State fans can agree at the end. It kind of was a farewell that was seen coming. There was trade rumors, throughout the whole season, and didn't seem like Clay was himself anymore. And I definitely saw a change of scenery coming. I wouldn't imagine him going to the Mavs, but it was a great destination at that point. The Mavs really haven't been the best of teams with what they've had this year, and so they moved on from Luka, and we'll talk about that later. But I think now post Luka trade, I think that his role has definitely elevated from maybe especially with AD out, he's now the two guy behind Kyrie. So.
Yeah, so do you think that this trade is one of those trades, Sauce, that kind of helps him behind? Luka was one of those dudes that shot behind the perimeter, right? So they obviously, if they were in a hunt of getting rid of him, they needed to bring somebody in that can shoot the rock. You think that really helped them by bringing in Klay Thompson because of his struggles that we seen last year, or do you think that was kind of like a downgrade?
Well, like for me, I mean, Klay Thompson is Klay Thompson. I mean, we all know how great he was when they were coming up, and it was just an historical run that they've had. But we all have to, point out the obvious in the decline that he's having in his career. And I think his injury, which was a brutal injury, I feel like at the wrong time, man. It was just bad. It was bad for him. It was bad for the organization, and they would only hope that he would come back to be the person that we all know. He was one of the remarkable two-way players that everybody respected, but since the injury and he's coming off, he's nowhere near the defensive player that we all knew he was. And the shooting thing is just the only thing that he has to stand on, and I don't think that's anything to stand on for him. I mean, he's not consistent. You feel me? So yeah, man. I just think that we all wanted him. You know, everybody was a. I mean, I'm not even a Warriors fan, and I was a big fan of Klay Thompson. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard to not like Klay Thompson. But I mean, we only hope to see how he's gonna work with Dallas, and I would pray that it works. But you know what I'm saying? As far as I know, he's nowhere near the Klay Thompson we all know. So I
Yeah,
don't think
being a
that
be,
fits the Dallas Mavericks at this point, because you lose Luka, and the average points that he's averaged, like what he averaged, like 35. That's not
yeah.
come from Klay Thompson anytime soon. So yeah, man, I just think that he's just a band-aid for right now until they find who their next guy is.
Yeah. I feel that. I thought because you're a Niner fan, I thought you were a Warrior fan. My bad.
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm a Bulls fan.
What? Oh, Bulls. Okay, respect. I can respect that.
Right.
All right. So let's move on to the now. Now we're getting deep now into these trades, man. So now the Warriors go and get Buddy Hield. And they trade with the 76ers. Buddy Hield goes to the Warriors. You would think that that's an upgrade from, as we were talking about how bad that Klay Thompson was playing. You think Buddy Hield now is an upgrade from that situation? He is a two-way player too, so I think he adds a little bit more to the game. Very, very intelligent ball player. It seems like that could be a really great fit until we talk about a little bit later the next trade that happens with them. But Buddy Hield now is on the scene. Now you got Steph Curry, Buddy Hield. What do you guys feel about that trade?
Buddy Hield, I think he's
Buddy's
worked out for
good.
Golden State really well. I think he participated in the 3-point shootout, which seems to be his strength on an NBA court. But I think he brings another scoring option to Golden State. Golden State obviously lost that when they lost Klay Thompson. Stephen Curry, as much as he is the best shooter and all of history the game has seen, he can't do it all. I thought there was another nice weapon for Curry. Just Golden State is they're just well past that window. Draymond's definitely closing in on retirement. They really have never had a big man. Again, it's just really just been that core of Curry and Thompson, and they had to fill that void. So, I think for them, I think for Buddy Hield, it's a good location for sure.
Cool. Sauce. So we're going to go to July 6th. What happens is there's a game. The Sacramento Kings have a game, and the opposite person that is going to make this trade happen ends up showing up to the Sacramento game by the name of DeMar DeRozan. Shows up to the game, and you can hear the crowd, and they're saying they're telling basically the staff in the upper piece to sign DeMar DeRozan, right? And then what happens 2 days later? He gets signed. So they trade with the Spurs and the Bulls. Bulls obviously get a pick swap, and then the San Antonio Spurs get Harrison Barnes, which is an older player, but they get DeMar DeRozan. What do you guys think about that? That one was kind of shocking to me because of the fact that it was such a young, fast-paced team. I think at this particular moment they got rid of their coach. And so now you don't have no coach, and you go get DeMar DeRozan. Like, what do you think that organization is really did that hurt their organization with all them young cats that they had? They made playoffs. They made playoffs the last couple of years too, being so young. So you would think you wouldn't want to take those pieces apart, but they did it. They got rid of a veteran in Harrison Barnes, and they brought in DeMar DeRozan.
I mean, I think that trade kind of definitely benefited the San Antonio Spurs in that aspect. I think they were preparing for something in the long haul. You know, and we'll talk about another big trade later that involved them. But I think that at that point, you know, they're building around Victor Wembanyama, obviously. For that aspect, you know, they were trying to bring in a veteran player that can you know lead on the offense on the court, and I thought it was a good trade. I thought it was a good trade. It's not been playoff changing for them, but I think the later addition
Yeah, so
they made this off season or this season.
Yeah, but
yeah.
for me,
So Sauce, do you think that this was like the beginning of it? Because look, you got DeRozan that got traded, you got Buddy Hield that gets traded. Do you think that started everything? Like, what at what point did all this chaos? Like, which players started all this? Because it led up to what we know we're going to talk about later. But like,
yeah,
do you think that these two big trades and this next bigger trade that happens the next day? Literally the next 2 days later is starting to be the downfall of all these different trades.
no, they have a right to their own, but just not as big of an impact like the biggest one that we're about to soon talk about. But I don't think that it was truly anything necessary of like what set off whatever. I just think that Sacramento is in a win now type situation. That's why they went away from I don't know why they went away from Fox. I thought Fox did great.
Yeah, me too.
I really didn't understand that. But they obviously seem different. I mean, I think that when you add DeMar DeRozan is on the latter end of his years, I believe. You know what I mean? He's a great athlete, you know, and he showed that throughout his whole career.
Right.
But he's at that point where now he's gonna help mold someone. I just don't know who that's gonna be on Sacramento. But man, I'm just excited to see what he pans out to be in the playoffs. Because you know the Western Conference, man, has proven itself to be one of the strongest suitors when coming these playoffs. They don't play around.
Right.
Yes, I think the Spurs got what they needed in their number one for the future, and I just think that Popovich is going to kind of slow De'Aaron Fox's game down. Instead of using his speed, he wants him to be the floor general. So we're going to see not too much of the flashiness, because we all know Popovich is pass. You already know, old school way of thinking, and that's why you got Victor Wembanyama. So I just think that there isn't really a trade for me that says it started everything off. I just think that everybody just had a few things to work on, but never saw the big trade coming, man. Oh my God.
So if you guys don't think that was big, this is what I thought started everything. This next one, which was crazy to me, was the Knicks land Towns in a blockbuster trade. The Knicks land Towns. They got rid of Julius Randle. And the guy that we cannot pronounce his last name, DiVincenzo. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but the Timberwolves ended up getting two picks. They got Julius Randle and Deontay, and Carl Towns. Like, yo, they did so good last year, and all of a sudden he gone. Like, I think that for me, that started everything. What do you guys think about that trade for him going to the Knicks? They needed a big man too. Don't get me wrong. They needed a guy who could spread the floor and dominate the paint. And they get that with Towns, because Towns can shoot threes too. You all know that. So it kind of opens up Jalen Brunson's game as well. And I think that helped them in this trade. But to give up Julius Randle, yikes. I mean, is it because of his injuries? He's injury prone. I mean, I mean, the dude when he's on the floor is a baller, but I think that this trade was a really big trade. What thoughts? Anybody could jump in at this point.
It definitely is because of the history of Julius Randle, where he just can't stay healthy for a full season. Like, didn't they miss him in the last playoffs? Right? They played without him, so definitely was the key factor. But for me, it's like the spacing on the floor is what I felt like they were missing last year. Like the only kind of like threat was Brunson and a few other offensive players that weren't as much as impactful as Jalen Brunson was on offense. But now I feel like they're onto something. And Thibodeau, bro, he's a good coach, man. I just think that everybody is really like hanging him up for the Bulls being a Bulls coach. But I just think that him now he has a chance to finally get a team to the big game. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the Knicks have it, but they just have to kind of like put this thing together. You feel me?
Yeah, and the other thing that I think they struggle with is second chance opportunities. On the defensive end, being able to get those rebounds and turn it into a fast break, and then on the offensive side, they weren't able to against teams like Boston and those type of dudes. They weren't able to match up. Even the Pacers, it was evident when they play against those guys, they weren't able to get those second chance opportunities. And I think those are really huge. And I think that's why they went after Towns. We talked about how they spread before, but even defensively, offensive rebounds is huge. Offensively, getting that second chance opportunity for Jalen Brunson or somebody else, I think that would help them out because they are scorers. So with those opportunities, they can turn them into scoring, and I think that they would be a more higher caliber team. What do you think? What do you think, Fantasy?
Which trade you talking about?
The Knicks
trade.
Oh yeah, I didn't see Julius Randle being moved. I think he's done well for himself. He's in Dallas right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's with Minnesota.
Minnesota. That's sorry, Minnesota. You're correct. I think Minnesota. I mean, otherwise, Anthony Edwards. Obviously, they needed. Kind of go back to the Klay Thompson one. You need your two guy to rely on for scoring. Karl Anthony Towns is out of there now, and he's in New York. They needed that scoring big man to kind of complement Anthony Edwards. So I know I thought it was off the wall, but I thought it kind of worked out for both parties.
Yeah. I'm gonna run through a couple of them starting in December 16th. We're gonna stop at the big one. We're gonna get to the big one. Golden State Warriors get Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder now finds a new home. The Nets end up getting DeAnthony Milton and also Reese. Going to December 29th again, Los Angeles Lakers get Dorian Flynn-Smith, which I think was a big role player for them to have. They got rid of D'Lo. D'Lo had some really good spurts of games last year, scoring 40-plus points in multiple games. He had a lot of triple-doubles as well. Played his butt off, but he ends up getting traded this year. And he ended up going to the Nets with Maxwell Lewis as well in that, with 3 draft picks going up all the way to the LA Clippers getting Drew and Patty Mills. And then the Utah Jazz in return got Bamba and PJ Tucker. They got rid of an old dude. That was kind of crazy. And then here's the big trade. So on February 2nd, we got Luka to the Lakers. Davis joins the Mavs, and in that trade, the Dallas Mavericks got Anthony Davis, who on his first debut game gets hurt. And Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick to the from the Los Angeles Lakers. And in return, they Lakers got Luka Doncic, Maxi Kibler, and Markieff Morris. And the Jazz got it was a 3-way trade. They got Jalen Hood. So Guys, I thought I thought literally LeBron was going to walk away and this is going to be AD's team. This is what I initially thought. And wow, was I wrong? Was it the fact that because they said the Mavericks has been shopping Luka to two other teams before they got to the Lakers. Okay. And when they got to the Lakers is when they made the trade with Anthony Davis. Now I got multiple feelings about this being a Lakers fan. First off, it's a love and hate relationship with Anthony Davis. When he scores 40, I love the man. When he gets hurt, I hate the man. Right? Like not hate the man, but I just like the man. The dude got like these glass legs, man. It just seems like the dude can't stay out of injury. And then in the playoffs, I get a little frustrated with him because he can't stay consistent in the playoffs. He has a game where he has 10 points. He has a game where he has 40. And then he can have just a huge game and not a huge game. It's just so inconsistent for me in the playoffs. Great regular season game, a baller. But then you add Max Christie, who was a good role player, and he started playing good at the tail end when they made this trade, which made him the more valuable, right, to Dallas. But in return, guys, Luka is now with the Lakers, and I seen him when they played against the Jazz when his debut. Bro, they didn't even have it all together, and they blew the socks off the Jazz. And I know the Jazz are not having a good season, but by all means, just the way they were playing and spreading that ball around, it looked pretty scary. I said if they get a big man, which we'll talk about in a little bit later, I think they also got Lynn. They still got Haynes. Yeah. They got a couple of other players, but this could be a scary team, right? What do you guys think about that? Waking up the next morning and seeing what was your first thought when you seen Luka to the Lakers, Davis to the Mavs? Let's start with Sox. We'll start. Oh yeah, go ahead, Fantasy. We'll start with you. It's cool.
I just, I had to. It was one of those ones, man. I had to look it up. I thought I was half asleep or dreaming or something. I thought I saw LeBron to Golden State before I seen Luka to the Lakers.
Right.
Them playing together in the Olympics. I kind of foreseen the possibility of them playing together, but Luka I did not see. For one, I think, again, as I touched on earlier, I think the Lakers are going to win this trade by a landslide. I wouldn't be able to trust Anthony Davis as far as I could throw him. And again, he's
man.
He may be labeled at this point. Injury prone may be a label, and that was arguably the big piece, right? The big piece to get Luka out of there. I think Max Christie definitely increased his value there towards the end, being a defensive player for LA and getting hot at the right time. But I think LA just. Howie Roseman must be over there in LA because that trade looked like some Howie magic.
Right. Well, what do you think, Sauce, when you woke up in the morning and you found out Luka to the Lakers and Anthony Davis is headed to the Mavs?
Definitely did not. You feel me? I did not think that was like even a thing, bro. I just like, man, I could only fathom like, man, what is going on? What is going through the mind of Dallas's organization, bro? Like, yeah, exactly. Then you get a player who obviously on his debut goes back on injury reserve, bro. And then
crazy, right?
Like
on the first day,
God, bro. Like
on the first freaking game.
Like you really can't pay the man to do his job, bro.
And it's a brand new injury. It's his damn abdominal muscles.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with his knees, his back, like he's had his rest of his career. It's now a new thing.
I just don't understand. Like, it has to be some trouble that we don't know in that front office with Dallas, bro. Because you do not take someone like that, like a face. Like he was the face. It's literally like building a statue and just taking the head off of it and then handing it to a different opposing team, so they can hang the freaking his head over there. it's just like, what are y'all doing, bro? Like,
Yeah.
and it's just sad. I don't like it for the Dallas fans who really, and they're a great fan base. You feel me? And they did not deserve this, bro. And I just feel like the Lakers definitely got their face like beyond LeBron now. You know what I'm saying? Luka obviously didn't know what was going on. I don't know how much of that is true. Like, obviously, we are all fans of the sport, but we just gotta realize, that this is one of those things that we can't control. We can't. The fandom of the sport cannot exist without the business side of things. So I don't know what business move this was, but Lord, it's crazy.
I mean, the fucked up part about it is how dirty Dallas did Luka, and they screwed up his Supermax.
Supermax, yeah, man.
So LA now gets the cheaper contract because they took him out of Supermax eligibility.
But he'll get it in what, the next year or two. He'll get it.
Yeah. It's just delayed at this point. But I feel like at this point, LA is going to have to extend him to basically let him know, like, this is your baby. This is yours after he leaves.
Right.
So the other thing that I want to mention too is that Kyrie 3 days later requested a trade. What are you guys thinking about that? Like, all of a sudden, you trade for Anthony Davis now. Now it's Kyrie's team at this point, Kyrie or AD's team, and now Kyrie's like, "Yo, you traded Luka? I'm out of here, bro."
Exactly. Like, I think it's an organizational issue at that point. He's like, "Look, I didn't see that trade coming." Luka said several times that, first of all, didn't he find out at a phone call while he was at dinner or something? You know what I mean? Like, didn't he have the balls to do this face to face? And it's kind of a bad rub. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. If you're a player of the Dallas Mavericks still, I would request a trade too.
Right. Yeah. There's a theory out there though, bro, like that they're saying that basically the new owner of the Dallas Mavericks, basically the bigger portion of the owner, because it's no longer Mark Cuban. It's it's the lady that owns the biggest casino in Vegas, which is Sam's Town. And basically she was requesting to build a casino next to the stadium. They said she couldn't do that. So then
inside.
Right, inside. So they threatened to move. She threatened to move the Mavericks to Vegas so she can build it there. Then they said, no, you can't take the Mavericks from this fan base because they've built a big fan base. So then she was like, okay, well, if I can't do any of that, I'm just going to trade your biggest player. Which was
I can save money and make money at the same, trying to make money at the same time.
Basically, she just said, I own this. She basically showed her that she stands on business, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Mark Cuban tweeted out and said, I would trade my wife before I traded Luka.
But see, that's the thing. Mark Cuban,
that's wild,
that
bro.
was the time where Mark Cuban was the owner.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So now that there's new ownership, that I feel like that theory, even though we can't validate it, or I have no source to validate it, but that sounds like something that matches what's going on, because Luka said that he got traded and they didn't even call him. They sent the text message. Right. Like, what?
Yeah. Which Mark would have called him, or anything big like that would have happened.
Yeah.
Mark wouldn't have traded him.
Right.
Mark wouldn't have traded him though.
In the face of it.
He was
Mark Cuban was left out of
it.
Oh, for sure he was. Nobody knew. And they want Nico, who's the new GM, they want him out of there. But let's move on. Let's move on from that. Let's talk about your guys' let's talk about Sauce's Chicago Bulls.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
So you guys got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin over there. Zach LaVine left, man. Zach
Oh,
LaVine
I already knew that was coming though. I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Zach
to the
LaVine
Kings.
big for Chicago, bro.
Yeah. So Zach went to the Kings, and then the Spurs obviously got Jordan. They got Jordan, and they also got Darren. They got Fox. So with that, I think that was a crazy trade too. Zach still, I mean, he's still. I mean, he's a decent player, man. Like it wasn't like he was an awful player that needed to be traded. I just think that if you got more pieces, it would have gelled a little bit better with that. But also, just before you guys answer, let's talk about take a second to talk about the All-Star Weekend and the dunk contest. Zach LaVine is entering the dunk contest now that they've seen Matt get a three-peat. So Zach is entering, John Morant, Giannis is entering, Anthony Edwards is entering. Next year's freaking dunk contest is gonna be like the biggest I think we've seen in a very, very long time, man. I'm excited for that.
I'm not the biggest LeBron guy, but I think LeBron should do one on his way out. I mean,
He
fans
should.
have been calling for that.
He should have did it. He should have did it
for about a decade now.
Yeah, he should have did it 10 years ago. I mean, now it's a little too late.
Hey, that boy can still get up. Don't sell him short.
Oh no, he can still dunk. I don't think he can be creative like these other guys.
Hey, you don't know he be bringing Bronny into that shit. Trust me, the fans will eat that shit up.
Yeah, it will sell. It will sell, bro. It will sell for sure.
So for that trade, I think the important part for me is Sacramento came out on top with the picks. 3 first rounders of top 14 protected and 25, first and 27 and 31, which is down the road. But then they got 3 seconds, 25 and 2 and 28. I mean, they loaded up on picks. They still got Zach LaVine in return. Obviously they gave up Darren Fox, which was a big one. But I think this trade it did well for everybody. I think Kevin Huerter going to Chicago. I think he's still got some ball left in him. And then Zach Collins as well. Trey Jones is not a bad point guard either. But I think Darren Fox was the piece that San Antonio was looking for Victor Wembanyama. I think that he on the fast break he's probably one of the quickest players on the court that I've seen since probably John Wall. He's very, very, very quick with the ball, and I think that a lot what he does complements Victor Wembanyama. So this is my big trade. This is the trade of the year for me in the NBA. I think that this trade is what's going to push San Antonio into what's called a playoff push, because they are a little bit out of it. But the Western Conference, in my opinion, isn't the strongest as it has been.
Yeah, and he's learning behind Chris Paul as well. So that what Sauce was talking about, floor general type of thing. I mean, you also get Chris Paul's knowledge of the game, and Chris Paul is one of the best, floor generals of this era.
Time, who's to say you don't do Chris Paul at the 1 and Darren Fox at the 2?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if put your best players on the floor.
Yeah, but I just think that De'Aaron Fox is too small to play the 2. I mean, the only thing that you're going to get from De'Aaron Fox is probably like offense. But when you're trying to have him guard the number 2, that's kind of a stretch. You feel me?
I could agree, but just, crunch time, it's playoff game. You know what I mean?
Small ball.
Yeah, you're going to want
small ball. Right.
Yeah, the Warriors did that last year. They played small ball with Draymond at the 5.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Playing small ball though.
Yeah, I said that earlier. They really haven't had a big man in I can't even since Andrew Bogut
was the last one.
Yeah. So here's another one. I'm gonna go through it real quick. So the Knicks got Washington Wizards got Chris Middleton.
Yep.
From Milwaukee. That was crazy for me. He was a part of that trophy run with Giannis, which was crazy. Chris Middleton does all the dirty work. Now he's not there. He's with the Washington Wizards. You got AJ Johnson over there. Milwaukee received Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin, and Jericho Sims. And then you go into Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown got traded around. He was with Denver. Everybody chanted his name and all that. They wanted him coming back. He got traded around a couple of times. Bruce Brown is now with the Pelicans, and so is Kelly on a link. And then you got the Raptors receiving Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
With the Raptors now. So that was crazy. Let's dive into this one, because this one I really want to spend a little bit of time on. Is the Lakers get Mark Williams, and the Charlotte Hornets get Dalton Knecht and Cam Reddish, and then he goes and does a physical, and Mark Williams doesn't pass the physical. That one got to rescind. Dalton Knecht comes back, and he's like, I don't want to play for a week. So he's like mentally out of it. So
I don't blame the kid. I think that this trade was to go through. I think Charlotte would have definitely won that trade. I thought Dalton Knecht was a steal when you guys drafted him last year. I thought that he should have been a top 10 pick. I thought I liked the skill, the shooter. I thought that's exactly what LeBron needed was a young shooter on the wing, and it just seemed like it just never gelled. And for them to move him was a surprise for me. But again, they got Dalton Knecht. They got Cam Reddish and 2 first for Mark Williams. I feel like, that's a lopsided trade in my opinion. But again, the physical came down. Mark Williams didn't pass. Everybody comes back. I feel like at that point, it's kind of like, well, you were trading me before, so clearly either I'm not wanted here or you don't see me as valuable. So I mean,
that's like the biggest slap in the face, bro.
It is, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're coming back because they didn't pass a physical. That's the only reason you're here. Like
Right.
it may be a slap in the face.
Yeah, and I just think the players that they did the trade with, bro, did not deserve to be traded like that, bro. That's
I can agree.
Like, come on, bro. Williams, bro, like he's not. Come on, bro. Like, and then you trade the defensive players that you obviously lack the defense in the backcourt. So what do you make up for? Like, obviously Luka don't play defense because he spends most of his energy on offense. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's not a knock to him, but, that's just the type of player that he is, as, we all know. But those young players, bro, they were going to fill in for, what they were lacking at defense, and then they go and desperate for a center, and then they give up their future. And it's just like, what? And then the test doesn't pass, and then you bring them back. And it's just like,
yeah.
Wait, first of all, like, what do we do now? Like, you know what I mean? This is crazy.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just more of a respect thing at that point. It's like, you were trading me before, so why can't I just go trade on my own now?
Right.
Well, that's the business side that we, as fans, sometimes neglect. So, like, at the end of the day, like, you can, if you're not the number one option, bro, or substantially the number 2 as well, you're just a filler.
Go somewhere where you're valued. That's
right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Yep.
100%. So here's a big trade, another blockbuster trade. Butler joins the Warriors in a blockbuster trade. You got Golden State Warriors getting Jimmy Butler. Miami Heat received Kyle Anderson, Davion Mitchell, and Andrew Wiggins. Also, they get a first-round pick. Here's a crazy one right here. So the Pistons end up getting Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder got traded. Dennis Schroeder in this trade line got traded 4 or 5 times. He had 4 or 5 homes before the deadline.
So did PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker got traded a couple times too.
But we all know, like, these players are those type of players. Like,
they're journeymen, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like, just passing through type ordeal, you know, and they're like they've known to be role players. So like PJ Tucker, he was always known to be a shooter, plus defense. You feel me? Schroeder is definitely a floor general in my eyes as far as being a point guard. I mean, he definitely could have been what what was something that like starting point guard, but he's like I said, like the way that this NBA is like filtering them out, like it's if you find a home, yeah, that's your home. You know what I'm saying? But obviously,
Yeah.
Dennis Schroeder didn't get the opportunity, so
Yeah.
Trey Young came and basically took his whole like starting role away from him.
Yep.
It's just crazy. Like one day you could be on top of the world, and tomorrow you could wake up with the world on top of you. So
yeah.
I mean, this trade.
So as I finish this one, Tennessee, you'll get a kick out of this. So Dennis Schroeder ends up now on the Pistons, right? After so many trades. And they get Lindy Waters the third. Utah Jazz get KJ Martin, Josh Richardson with the 2028 second round pick. Here we go. Toronto Raptors get PJ Tucker in this blockbuster trade. So
we got him, and they sent his ass back, and they said, "Get out."
Oh my gosh, these dudes got traded so many times. I read their names so many times on here, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, damn, how many blockbuster trades
bro,
did these dudes get?
Like in a 3-hour span, bro. His man's phone was ringing off the hook. Nah, you moving here, bro. Nah, you going here. You going there.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it was all day. Like, that was crazy.
I would not be surprised if NBA stars start owning mobile homes, bro. Where, like, hey, honey, we got
we're packing up.
We're gonna drive down here.
No, I mean, listen, the trade in general as a Miami.
So let's start with. Okay, you want to do okay? So finish the Heat. As a Heat fan, but remember, we're gonna focus on the Jimmy Butler now. They got Steph Curry, they got Buddy, they got Buddy, and now they got Jimmy Butler. Let's come back to that, but go ahead and finish the Heat talk real quick.
Just as a Heat fan, this trade kind of upsetted me. I thought that Butler was worth a little bit more than what we got. Andrew Wiggins has never really necessarily impressed me. Kyle Anderson, Davion Mitchell.
You got Kyle Anderson, man. What are you talking about?
Bro, you don't but again, as I said it earlier, this needed to happen, right? This was a locker room problem. He was getting suspended. He wasn't playing anyway. This is when we're kind of transitioning into the Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo era. I think Tyler Hero really has come into his own, and this is really Bam's team at this point. But again, what we got in return, not really up to it. The only thing that really came out of it, I think, is we got a first next year that's top 10 protected. Hopefully that pans out for us, and we can turn that into something. But yeah, outside of that, Golden State, Butler, they get Butler. He pairs with Buddy Hield, Stephen Curry. I think that's a move that can maybe improve their playoff position. I think they just sneak into the playoffs, if I remember the standings correctly. But I think at this point, getting Butler, if he is, cohesive and on the court, I think that this is a move that definitely improves their playoff pitcher position.
I think if Butler, I don't know, like. If Butler is anything like he was in the bubble, bro, it'd be problems, bro. But
first of all, the bubble come out again. That was a one-time deal.
Yeah, bro. Like they always talked about Melo with the hoodie.
Yeah,
man. Butler in the bubble was something else, bro.
It was deadly.
He literally gave every single ounce of his body to that game, bro. It just was. He was different. I don't know what he was tapped in with. maybe the shots that they gave him. I gotta ask him what kind of shots he took, so I could probably go get those. But nah, yeah, he was definitely tapped in, bro. He was definitely tapped in. But I think that that is gonna help Stephen Curry a little bit because we all know that Curry does not, you know, absorb a lot of the ball time. So I think that Jimmy Butler could definitely be the ball controller. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like turn into that person where he's like the Draymond Green. And Draymond Green, now that he's getting older, he could kind of like focus more on being a big guy. And I don't know, like I just think that this isn't like moving the needle to like say that they're gonna compete. I just think that they're just there right now. You know what I mean? Like it's 8 teams that gotta go. So I just think the Warriors become one of those. And then, you know, the one team that comes in, I don't know why they made that how it is, but yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we weren't able to cover all the trades. We covered most of the bigger trades. We talked a lot about those. But now let's tap into uh, what was the biggest trade for you guys, and which one of those trades will be the one that puts them over the top that you think that was the trade that they needed to get them over the top?
I think for me, it just the one that jumps off the paper is, obviously the obvious one is the Luka trade. But outside of that, I think that Darren Fox going to the Spurs, I think again gives Victor Wembanyama somebody to handle the change of the pace of the game, and I think it benefits the Spurs, and I think they're out of playoff contention right now. I think they could eventually sneak in with some strong play, but again, Chris Paul, Darren Fox, Victor Wembanyama, they got a couple young cats over there. I think they're a couple pieces away from being a really strong team.
Sasa was one for you.
For me, man, I kind of wanted it to be, at like the Dallas situation because I feel like, we're finally gonna see AD finally get to play his natural position, and then what's it called, the 4 guy that they had besides Likely. Well, was it in PJ?
Oh, Godfrey?
No, the other one.
Yeah.
Dang, I forgot his name. But he can now slide over to the 3 and play his natural position. And I just had high hopes for them, you know what I mean? But then AD comes out and he just freaking does what everybody does. I mean, he has an AD like situation. But man, I would say, man, if anything, I would say the Knicks. Like the Knicks really put it together this time around, and hopefully, I feel like it can kind of finally get them, to be the team to represent the East. You know what I'm saying? It's not promising, but I just think that they can lock down and finally get that spacing on the floor that they needed and be more effective as a together team. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, I'm just, the Brunson. I just became a Brunson fan last year, so I'm like, man, he was one of those point guards that left Dallas to kind of find himself and proven a lot. You know what I'm saying? He came out of the woodworks, bro. Like, oh my gosh, bro. And
yeah.
And to see that what Dallas was holding back, and then now he goes to the Knicks and shows the world, like, I am that guy, like, given the opportunity. And man, I just hope that Brunson can really, finally get over some of these teams and shock the world. And the Knicks can finally have their freaking title.
Yeah, because they were last year. You watch. I felt sorry for Brunson. Well, I didn't feel sorry for him because he makes millions of dollars. But I felt kind of bad. I kind of felt kind of bad at the fact that the dude was exhausted in the playoffs. Man, like you could tell that everything was on him. He was getting injured. He was continuing to play. But this year they're kind of putting it together, and that was a big trade for them that they needed. They're ranked number 3 in the East, behind Boston and Cleveland taking the 1 spot. And they're about 8 games away from taking the 1 spot, but they're in it. The only other teams that are in it is you got Indiana Pacers, of course. You got Milwaukee. This is a crazy one. You guys are gonna get shocked right here. You know who the number 6 team is?
Is that the Wizards?
No, Detroit Pistons.
Oh yeah, Cade Cunningham is him, bro. You didn't hear?
Bruh, they are ranked number 6. They're going into the playoffs, man. That's crazy. Then you got the Orlando, Atlanta, Miami, and Chicago in the play-in tournament right now as it sits. But Detroit, that's crazy. Going with worst team in the NBA last year to the number 6 team in the East is crazy.
They had the talent. They just didn't have the coach to put it together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who's their coach? Is it Doc Rivers over there?
Was it Doc?
Hold on.
What?
It's somebody.
Doc's been in Milwaukee.
Oh yeah. He went to Milwaukee.
He went to Milwaukee with Giannis, and then before that was on the Clippers, and then before that was his run in Boston.
Yeah.
It's Monty Williams, I believe.
Oh,
is it Monty now?
It's not saying anything. Hold on. Did you guys find it, or do you?
Nah.
Oh.
Let me see here. I can pull it up here. Roster.
JB Brickstaff.
Oh, I have no clue who that is, to be honest with y'all. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I haven't heard it. I haven't heard his name around ever. But I mean, they're doing it. I mean, they went from last to 6. I mean, that's crazy. And then you've got on the Western Conference, of course, you got OKC with SGA over there playing his lights out with Chat. You got Memphis at number 2. Ja is staying out of trouble, y'all. And he's playing games, and he's up. They're 8 games behind Oklahoma City. And then you got your Denver. You got Houston, the young boys. Houston. You got them at number, and then you got the Lakers at number 5. They're finally out of the woodworks of being in the play-in game the last 3 years, and they're actually ranked number 5. And they're only 2 games behind, 2.5 games behind second place. And then you got the Clippers, and then in the play-in game you got Minnesota, Dallas, Sacramento, and Golden State Warriors at 10. Phoenix is not even in it right now. What's going on with Phoenix?
I mean, you got on with
Phoenix has got to separate. That ain't gelling.
Yeah, it's all the same type of player in one team.
It's stupid. You can't have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. It just don't. Yeah, it just don't make sense.
It doesn't work. Like it.
You got a whole bunch of shooters, and there's not a single defender.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But then you got your right underneath them, you got your Spurs, which is 2 games behind them. Yeah. And as of right now, they could possibly get a push going with this trade, and hopefully get into a play-in game. I would like to see them in a playoff game. That would be nice to see Wemby in there. I don't know how many more years. I don't know how many years the Spurs are going to be relevant after their coach leaves. I mean, he's a legendary coach. I mean, the guy can coach his butt off. And after his wife,
I don't know what they're going to do
after his
is gone.
Yeah, after his wife passed away, it kind of seemed like.
Oh, you talking about Popovich?
Yeah, I don't know how many years he has left. After his wife passed away, it kind of seemed like some of that passion left because of the excitement. He would have that dialogue with his wife. Now he's not having that with her anymore. So
obviously that does take away from such like great coach and Popovich. I definitely don't think that he's at 100 right now. So, like, it's obviously showing because this is definitely not who Popovich is as far as like putting a team together. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's time for him to hang it up, man. Like, I think he's done enough for the world, to see. Like he's already solidified his position with the greats. So I don't think that he has anything that he needs to do. So I mean, who do you think he like? That's some big shoes to fill, bro. So I don't know.
Let's do some early predictions, man. Let's do some early predictions before we get out of here. What's the two teams you got coming out of the West?
Two teams, I'd say I got OKC versus Houston.
Ooh.
Okay.
Versus Houston. Well, for me, I think it's OKC versus the Lakers.
That's what I have.
The Lakers.
Of course, that's what you have.
Yeah. But I have OKC. But I have OKC though. I have OKC. No, this is the reason why. Okay, OKC is a really good team. They're fast. They're young, and I think that they could potentially lose even before that. There's stronger teams like what's happening with Denver. They're the team that you can't sleep on with Jokic and them. They're experienced team. They go up against the young Bucks like the OKC in one of the rounds because it looks like they would actually play them in the first round. They could potentially get knocked out. If they play against Houston, I see OKC winning that game. Then you have the Lakers playing against Memphis, beating Memphis, and then obviously getting that way. So it just depends how it goes. But right now as it sits, remember it's early prediction. I got the Lakers and OKC. Just because they would probably play Houston first. Lakers would have to knock out everybody else, and I think that they have the veteran talent to do that. Who do you got, Dice?
I'm going to be devil's advocate here. I got Spurs and Lakers. I see them growing.
Oh, whoa. So you think they're going to win a play? They're going to get into the play-in, and then they're going to push like the Lakers did last year.
Mm-hmm. I feel they're going to sneak in. Wemby's doing really good. Chris Paul's right there. They just got another shooter. So I think they could sneak in for that last push with Popovich.
Okay, who do you guys got coming out of the East? Who do you guys got coming out of the East?
Oh my gosh! I say Boston and the Knicks, man.
Yeah.
Boston and the Knicks.
That's what I got. Yeah, I got Boston and the Knicks. I don't think that Giannis can do anything. I think Indy has pieces that they need to put together. Obviously, we see what Detroit is doing. There's nobody in the play-in that's really a threat. The only threat is Cleveland. If the Spider can stay healthy, they're a really strong team, and defensively they're really and sound. They could actually knock out Boston. But I don't think that they can. If they play against the Knicks, I don't think that they can beat the Knicks. So that's why I also have the Knicks versus Boston. Who do you got, Fantasy?
I got Miami and Chicago. No, I'm just playing.
You should have seen Sauce's face. He said, "Wait, what?"
Listen. Realistically, like I don't. It very well might be Cleveland and OKC. I think these are two arguably the best teams in the NBA right now. Cleveland, obviously, Mitchell.
So you got them. So you got them in the finals. You're going all the way to the finals.
I could see the finals. Is what I'm saying. Out of the West, I had Houston and OKC, which is definitely a possibility. Out of the East, I think I would go Cleveland, New York. I think that would be a good series, and honestly, I could see Cleveland, OKC.
Yeah, the East is going to be pretty competitive this year. A lot of years we didn't see them that competitive, but this year I think we're going to see a little bit of competitiveness, at least for the top four teams. I mean, you got Cleveland, Boston, New York, and Indy. Those four teams right there. And then you got Milwaukee.
When it gets down to the nitty-gritty, man, the West is just something about
the West is most dominant. The West is most dominant. I mean, you can go all the way to the play-in game like the Lakers did, right? And they climbed their way all the way into it. The West is the most dominant all the way down to the play-in game. But I'm saying, really, when you looked at the playoffs last year, you're like, Boston's going to the finals before even the playoffs start. Like, you just knew that they was going all the way. Now it's kind of like, I don't know. Cleveland's making a push. Boston's kind of looking shaky. New York's looking strong. Pacers can upset a team. Milwaukee, Giannis can get on a roll. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with those five teams, but everybody else we pretty much know they're going to lose. Like the play-in game is not going to matter with them. Right, the 6 team is not going to matter. But those 5 teams could be kind of competitive more than last year. We really don't know what's going to happen, which last year was more predictable and this year is not. Any last words, anybody? Any last words?
Nah, man, I just,
I'm good,
you know, I appreciate it, man.
Let the
Like,
games begin, man.
I really do appreciate the opportunity for, you opening your platform and for allowing me to be here. I don't claim to know it all, you know what I'm saying? I just give my little educated understanding and my educated outlook of whatever what was opposed to me or whatever question was asked. But yeah, man, I hope to continue to do work, man. I'm looking forward for this upcoming draft for the NFL. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a lot of this free agency though. You thought the NBA was something? Oh my goodness, bro. You are in for a hell of a ride for this free agency for the NFL. But shout out to all the NBA fans out there, man. You know what I mean? I'm not a huge NBA watcher because my Bulls aren't just anything to watch anymore. So,
Yeah.
good luck to everybody's team though. For if you have your team
Yeah.
finals too.
And we definitely gonna be bringing Sauce back. Sauce is as you can see, a 49er fan. I think 49ers are gonna do pretty well this year. Yeah, they're gonna do pretty well this year, considering the fact that they could they're gonna get healthy. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about on that side. We'll talk about that in the next 3 weeks. But for now, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Follow these guys on every one of their platforms. Thank you so much, Dice, for joining us. Fantasy, always a blessing, and thank you again for giving up your time, Sauce. That is it for us, guys. Again, you can follow us on all platforms. Follow the Sports Lounge Media Group. We about to do some major things, guys. This next season, we got guys going to the draft. We have one guy, Kendall, is potentially going to the Columbine. We got a couple of other guys doing some things. We're going to be out at the Super Bowl, stuff like that. But we're also going to be diving into this next season. Not this season, but the following season of the NBA will be at All-Star Weekend. And we're going to be doing some amazing things with that. We're going to be diving into more as we get more credentials and stuff, so some stuff to look out for and some giveaways. Super excited about where we're going with this. Blessing. It wouldn't happen without you guys. So continue to like, share, comment, and subscribe to everything that we have on these platforms. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys have a blessed hump day, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Yes.